All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Bob Arum is completely exposed and sued for fraud, violations of the Muhammad Ali Act over predatory slave contracts that he negotiated with a promoter that was representing Rob Brant. He's going to court for this, and quite honestly, man, I don't even need to see it go through. What I've heard described in this business transaction is absolutely disgusting. It is unethical. It is immoral. It is absolutely flat out disgusting. Let's talk about what Bob Arum is accused of doing in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, for a very long time, I've been telling people just straight up. Don King gets a lot of sweat for being a promoter that took advantage of fighters. So much so that I would say that he took so much damage to his reputation that it almost ran him out of boxing. When you talk about corruption in boxing, people in the mainstream media almost always throw out throw out Don King. But what they forget is that there was also another promoter there during the time of the Muhammad Ali Act that was every bit as crooked as as Don King, and from what I hear in this accusation, even more so. So let's get into what Rob Brant is saying took place, and then I'm going to explain before that my issue with this is ethics, morals, and honestly, dude, this is flat out fraud. Fraud from Bob Arum, fraud from Cohen, and in a way that ridiculously exploited Rob Brant and put Rob Brant in a situation where if he would have lived up to that contract, he would have gone broke by design. Broke by design. And my friends, if you go and read a boxing article that was written several years ago by the University of Chicago, and it was an academic study about the economics of a boxing match, and I will tell you flat out that paper, which was paid for by somebody in the boxing world, instruction was clear. Do not overpay boxers. Make sure they don't make a lot of money, because if they make a lot of money, then they might stop boxing or they might not take the fights that you want them to take. So, with that in mind, let's go through what happened with Rob Brant. It's disgusting. Rob Brant is a professional fighter. We know who Rob Brant is. I do believe at different times he's been a WBA regular champion. He's definitely one of the top guys in that weight division that kind of lurk below the surface. Very, very solid fighter, right? He was signed to a promotional agreement with a guy named Greg Cohen. And Greg Cohen negotiated a deal to transition Rob Brant from that promotional outfit to Top Rank. Rob Brant was aware of this. Rob Brant told his promoters, his initial promoters, Rob Cohen, I want to be involved in the negotiation with Bob Arum. I want to see all of the paperwork involved. So, what does Greg Cohen do? Greg Cohen waits until Rob Brant is out of the country on a honeymoon. He goes to Bob Arum and he strikes a deal. When he strikes the deal with Bob Arum and Rob Brant comes back from his honeymoon, Greg Cohen tells Rob Brant, you got to sign this right now or Top Rank says it's off the table. This is a take it or leave it deal. What are you going to do? Sign right now or the deal's off the table. So Rob Brant signs the deals and goes on. Now he is suing because of that agreement and what was in it. Let's go through what was in it. It's disgusting. On Rob Brant's contract, the one that he saw, that he signed with Top Rank, the one he saw, it said that for the remainder of his career, Greg Cohen will get 11% of the value of his purse for the rest of his career. It's very similar to what Bob Arum negotiated with the former promoter for Terrence Crawford, right? It's called an assignment fee, and you have that in your contract. You can assign something to somebody, and if You know, you either have a right to review it or you don't have a right to review it, whatever, the guy that is subject to the assignment. Long story short, this is what they agreed to. On paper for Rob Brant, the only thing that he saw was 11%. But what Bob Arum actually agreed to with Greg Cohen off the record in a private deal between the two of them was 30% of Rob Brant's purse. 30%. And on top of that, think about this. You get the 30% off the top and then another 11% out of the paycheck of Rob Brant, right? So now you're not talking about 11%. You're talking about somewhere closer to, I don't know, 35, 36% of the total purse. It's ridiculous. And it is 30% higher than what Rob Brant even knew about. But that isn't even it. If Rob Brant makes a pay-per-view, say he gets to the point where he gets a Canelo Alvarez fight or he gets on pay-per-view. Bob Arum agreed, off the record, unbeknownst to Rob Brant, to pay Greg Cohen $400,000 of his pay-per-view. $400,000. How do you know that Rob Brant is going to make $400,000? So if he makes $1 million in a pay-per-view, Cohen gets 40% of that off the top. That's not even talking about the fees associated with Bob Arum, right? Because think, they're the promotional fees associated with Greg Cohen, but on top of that, Rob Brant is going to have promotional fees from Top Rank, right? Both in that 30%, the 11%, and in the $400,000 he's taken for pay-per-views. Once again, all of this negotiated without the knowledge of Rob Brant. Also, watch this, if Rob Brant loses a fight, the interest that Greg Cohen had in Rob Brant transitioned to the guy that beat him. Now ask me a question. Why would Rob Brant agree to any of that? Why would he agree to any of that? He wouldn't. He wouldn't unless he didn't know. But think more importantly. Think about this. What does that deal do to Rob Brant? It takes all of the money out of Rob Brant's fights before he actually starts fighting with Top Rank, because you've got dang near half of his money leaving every fight. And that's before you talk about the training, the coaches, all of the other type of things that he has to pay for. It is absolutely ridiculous. And what is the result of it? The result of it is just what I said, that Rob Brant will now be a fighter for Top Rank, but he will not make any money. So what will he have to do? He will have to take any fight that comes to him, and the more fights that he takes, more likely, the more broke he's going to get. So he just keeps swimming around in this fully constructed debt machine that was the brainchild of Bob Arum and Greg Cohen. That is a violation of the Muhammad Ali Act, without a doubt. Absolutely. It is fraud, without a doubt. And that is why the guy is in court for this. However, I want to ask you, have you ever heard of Don King doing something like that? Don King has been accused of doing things like charging too much for towels and things like that, but negotiating a deal with another promoter, right? To give a guy a deal that is nothing but a slave contract, right? And then rewarding the guy and saying, look, dude, if this slave contract that I got with you expires too quick and I get him beat, no worries. It switches right to the next guy. You keep going and making money. That is treating Rob Brant so terribly. It's ridiculous, and guys like that should not be in the sport of boxing. I'm sorry. And anybody that says and represents Bob Arum and talks about Bob Arum and as being anything other than a scumbag, I don't want to hear it. Because as somebody that has negotiated agreements with people many, many, many times, that is underhanded as underhanded can be. It is an unconscionable agreement, and Bob Arum knows full well Rob Brant would not like the terms of those agreements and knew exactly what situation he was putting Rob Brant in. And that is also collusion, because you're telling me, and I don't want to throw around terms too loosely. I'm not saying legally collusion, but he got joined to this lawsuit. Why did he get joined? Because he is part and parcel to the fraud. He was a partner in the fraud. Hey, let's get together and create a deal where you get paid and he gets screwed. And give him 5 minutes to sign the contract. Otherwise, I'm pulling it off the table and I'm going to go find somebody else. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like something like Bob Arum has a bunch of promoters like that. And if he doesn't want to initially sign a fighter, he'll get these other smaller promoters to sign the fighter, wait around to see if they look good. And if they look good, like they can be something, then he'll put them in a slave contract so that he works them into debt for the rest of their career. It is absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.